Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Leslyn Keith with Lipedema Project and Lipedema Simplified. And we're here today we're getting together with our sponsors and speakers that are going to be at our April event, our heart-to-heart virtual event that's coming up April 12, 13, and 14. And today, it's my privilege to be here with my friend and colleague, Bryan Hayward, who is one of the sponsors and also, does a lot of work with our lipedema ladies as part of the tribe and in other ways also. So we're so thrilled that, Bryan, you're a part of this event that's coming up and that your organization is going to be sponsoring the event. So Bryan, can you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself if they haven't met you yet, which I'd be surprised if they haven't, but if they haven't met you yet, who are you and what is Natural Wellness Boston?
Thanks, Leslyn. And I am so pleased to be part of the event coming up in April 12th, 13th, and 14th, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a retired chemical engineer. And so I have a pretty technical background, and I've had arthritis really badly in most of the joints of my body since I was pretty young. And in recent years, it just got much, much worse. And so I've been unable to do normal daily tasks with my hands that I used to be able to do as a younger person. And it's quite painful at times. It goes up and down. Like I've heard people talk about getting flare-ups of it, and it just seemed like that happens to me. I'll end up with 6 months of serious pain in one finger. It's weird. Yes. And then it goes away in something else. So my daughter knew a nurse who she worked with, and the nurse said that she was using CBD with her clients about pain and arthritis in particular. And she recommended that I try this particular CBD product, and I did. And one of the products, it was a salve that I just rubbed on my hands. And the first time I did it, the pain dropped dramatically in about 10 minutes. And I was completely surprised by that because my technical background, I kind of don't believe stuff.
Yes.
So, especially
makes you naturally skeptical. Yes.
Yes, very skeptical. So I also started taking a tincture with that company, and that also seemed to help. I take a dose in the morning and a dose in the evening before I went to bed, and that seemed to also help more with the inflammation, because arthritis is essentially an inflammatory based problem where your brain keeps sending signals, to your hands to say, I got to help you out here, but it doesn't really help. It makes it worse.
Yes.
And when I originally met Catherine at an entrepreneurs group, and she was talking about lipedema, it seemed like people with lipedema, the big pain causer was inflammation. And, it just we just got talking about, because she would hear me talking about CBD and inflammation. And so we talked about the idea of just trying it out, see if some of the lipedema ladies would want to try it and see if it worked. And it worked extremely well. So the ladies had this.
And it's worked so well that you do regularly scheduled pain clinics with our lipedema tribe. And helping consulting with the women about CBD. But what is CBD? I mean, as a chemist,
right?
Can you tell us in layperson terms what is this and why does it work so well?
Well, CBD comes from a plant, and it's called cannabis. And cannabis is a plant name that people associate with marijuana. And a cannabis plant that produces marijuana has maybe 25 to 40% THC, which is the psychoactive part of marijuana. And the same starting cannabis plant can be bred little by little, stage after stage, to have essentially no THC in it. So it's non-psychoactive. And so the government in 2018 designated hemp as a plant, a cannabis plant that has less than 0.3% THC versus 25 to 40%. So one of the questions is, will I get high from CBD? And the answer is no, that it's a non-psychoactive compound that there's a little trace amount of THC in there because you can't get it completely out of the plant. So you won't get high from CBD.
But it has other medicinal values that help people tremendously.
In CBD, there's a thing called the isolate molecule, which is what drug companies need in order to make money. So certain large corporations isolate the CBD and sell that. And the problem with that is CBD isolate without the rest of the plant is essentially ineffective at pain. So there's a lot of stuff on the market that people are hyping as, oh, it's CBD. But if you don't know what you're getting, then a lot of people end up spending hundreds of dollars and getting no results and feel like they wasted their money, which in fact is true. They did, because a lot of the industry is all about marketing, not about technical. So when I started this, I wanted to understand like how it works. What is it that actually does the job? And what works is that the main flower of the plant, if you extract the CBD compounds from the whole flower, that's called full spectrum CBD. So on a label, if you see full spectrum CBD, that's the beginning of saying, okay, this might be a quality product. So I have 4 checks that I do when I look at labels. First thing is it full spectrum CBD? And it needs to say full spectrum and CBD in one line altogether, because you can put full spectrum one place and CBD another and think you're getting full spectrum CBD, and that's not necessarily the case.
So essentially you're saying that if they did some kind of chemical process to extract what they think is the potent molecule, that molecule by itself is worthless. It doesn't help us. But if you have that molecule along with the rest of the plant, then we're gonna have some wonderful outcomes with using that full spectrum CBD.
And CBD is chemistry-wise technically a cannabinoid. That's the general grouping, and there are over 100 different cannabinoids. One of them is CBD in the full CBD. So the plant has produced for thousands of years orchestration of compounds to protect the plant from outside stuff. And so that's why, that's what it does. And besides the cannabinoid compounds, which is over 100 of, there are compounds that are called terpenes. Terpenes are volatile molecules that, one of my favorite terpenes is pine smell terpene. So a terpene that has that pine smell of it. I thought I just liked pine smell when I was in the woods. And I found out since that smell from the pure pine scent actually changes the inflammatory conditions in your body. It also changes whether you're depression, whether you're calm. And so there are many hundreds of terpenes, every one of them doing a different. Some of them are really good inflammatory agents, and some of them are really good anti-anxiety agents. There's all of these different things in a healthy plant that is good for us, not like ibuprofen and all these NSAIDs and all Tylenol that destroy us.
Right.
There's no negative to the CBD product, and it's generally healthy. Like one of the compounds, one of the CBD compounds, is that it helps the stomach lining. It helps smooth and protects the stomach lining. Try ibuprofen does the opposite of that.
Right.
Yeah, and none of these.
You have worked a lot with our lipedema ladies, and definitely we've seen some benefit for them with pain.
Mhm.
But besides with pain, which is huge to have
Mhm.
help with that, but I think there's been some other benefits as well. Can you talk about some other things that you've
Sure.
found that it's done for lipedema?
Well, a number of the ladies, well, the thing I hear more often than not is, I'm just talking to a lady a couple days ago, and she said that before she started using CBD, she was in pain all the time and could kind of get around in the house by holding onto the wall and using a walker or a cane. And
Mhm.
so once she started taking the CBD, the salve, and the capsules that we have, once she started taking those compounds, the pain has gone dramatically down. She's able to go out of the house now where she hardly ever left the house. And when she walks now, instead of having excruciating pain, she has very little pain now.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
happens to a lot of the ladies, not everybody.
Mhm.
Sometimes it doesn't seem to do much, but
Mhm.
most of the ladies that have tried it have come back to me to say that they've had these experiences. So it's not a panacea for everybody,
Mhm.
but for quite a high percentage, like 75, 80, maybe 90% of the ladies that have tried it have said that
Mhm.
they've had very significant pain reduction. Uh,
Mhm.
restless leg syndrome.
Yes.
A number of the ladies couldn't fall asleep at night because of the pain and the restless legs. And
Yes.
the pain gets reduced. They get calmed down a little bit, helps them fall asleep, and the pain is gone. And so the restless leg for a lot of the women has just, pretty much disappeared, and they're able to sleep through the night.
And the calming effect,
Mhm.
so that you feel less anxious. I mean,
Mhm.
it definitely, this is a common comorbidity with lipedema, is there can be depression and there
Mhm.
can be anxiety.
Right.
And maybe it's pain based, maybe it's isolation based, but
Yes.
if you are, and so who knows if the CBD is helping with anxiety and depression, or is it just because now you feel better and you're getting out of the house and now you have less
Yeah.
anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
But at least the secondary benefit seems to be that it really has a calming effect
Mhm.
and less anxiety and less depression.
There are plenty of medical research reports that talk about specifically the anxiety, uh, calming down of a person, and antidepressant. Some of the terpenes, like there's a citrus terpene that is like
Mhm.
a citrusy smell.
Mhm.
Citrus is very well known to reduce depression. And in fact, the studies show that using full spectrum CBD reduces depression and um, reduces anxiety.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, if I was isolated the way a lot of the women that I talk to,
Mhm.
I would be anxious and depressed, like you said, just
Sure.
that being, so you can't leave or don't want to leave your house because it's too painful. That is a really difficult thing to have to experience.
Right. Yes.
Can I tell you one other story?
Sure. Please.
The
Please.
ladies, one of the ladies, um, her name's Bertha. Her mother is 90 plus and
Mhm.
had terrible pain in her knees from arthritis. And her mother, when she would she didn't want to go to the dentist and avoided going to the dentist as much as she could.
Mhm.
But when they would take her there, the dentist would have to come out of the building, out onto the steps, and help her, and her daughter would help her from behind, and the dentist would help her from above, and just to get her in there, and it was excruciatingly painful. And
Right.
then after she started taking CBD that her daughter got her to take, the next time she went to the dentist, her daughter dropped her off, and she's supposed to stand right there and wait.
Uh-huh.
And she started walking up the stairs while the daughter was parking the car. By the
Ah.
time the daughter got there, she was halfway up the steps and didn't need any help from the dentist, who came out too.
Wow.
She and her mother are just like ecstatic.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that if it does fit, if it works for you, it's
Yes.
going to be pretty
Yes.
miraculous. So I have a lot
But
of those who feel
and
that
and,
way.
but speak to what we were talking about earlier, Brian. That um, someone may have tried CBD before and it did nothing for them, but it's very important to know the quality. And if you were unsuccessful with CBD before, maybe you didn't have a good quality CBD. And how do you tell? Because I mean, you're looking for those words, full spectrum.
Right. And the next thing is organic and some kind of certification that it's organic. A lot of the states in the United States certify all of the plant growing in their area. So like in Massachusetts and Vermont, where I live near and my two farmers are, they're highly regulated. And so I know, and I've been to the farms and I've been to the farmers. I know them. They're farm families, in this country that produce a crop because their ancestors did. And they're very proud of it. And so these are the kind of people that we want to be buying CBD from, not big corporations.
Yes.
And so the farm, anything that I have that I sell to anybody has the farm that it came from on the label. I buy from 2 farms and their name is on the label and their information is on the label. So you can go to the farmer's website and you can call the farmer and say, tell me about your crop.
Yes.
They love talking about it. So, and that's what I did. And I found some farmers that I could just, were very, very nice, honest people. And so I recommend that people buy CBD where you can see what farm it was produced from, because if it wasn't produced from a specific farm and it's on the label, then they can put anything in there they want.
Yes.
Get CBD from around the world. That 70% of the product that gets CBD that gets sold in the United States is contaminated with heavy metals and pesticides. It's very dangerous to be buying CBD. You don't know what farm it came from. So
at worst, it could be, like you're saying, dangerous. But at best, a product like that will just be completely ineffective and a waste of your money. But if you make sure that you follow these suggestions that you've just talked about, or buy from Natural Wellness Boston, then you're getting a really good product, and it's going to be safe and hopefully effective for you. And Bryan, I just wanted to say too that, for several years now, you've been highly involved in the lipedema community, and our members really, really adore you and find that the pain clinic so valuable. And you're going to be participating, not only sponsoring the event that's coming up April 12, 13, and 14, but you're going to be participating in that. Attendees are going to get the opportunity to meet with you and talk with you at special break times during the event. So this is going to be another wonderful benefit to attending the event. I wanted to click on really quick so make sure that I get the name of the event correct. It's our heart-to-heart virtual 3-day event, Keto and Beyond, customizing your plan to joyful nutrition. So we're going to be really focusing on nutrition in this particular event, but all aspects of it. And there are some aspects to it that do a lot for pain, but it's good to combine it with something like CBD or other non-invasive techniques that we can learn about to help with your lipedema pain. A lot of times it's not just one thing. It's quite often that the people you talk to, Bryan, they're using CBD, but they might also be using a pneumatic pump. They might be using a vibration plate. It's kind of a combination sometimes that is most effective to our members.
Almost everybody is using a number of those products, the compression garments, all of that you talked about, people are using, and it's just nice to be able to try out to see whether a CBD product will actually make it better or not do anything for it. And by the way, you don't need to buy from me. I'm perfectly fine if you don't buy from me.
But you have been so kind that someone will tell you, well, I bought from this particular company. Can you tell me if this is anything any good? And you've been able to advise people like that. We have one person who posted a question here, Bryan, that maybe you can answer. Are your CBD products, I guess it means, tested by an independent lab? Is your product tested?
That's actually the fourth item on the list. Is on every label, it should give you the website address that you can go to check to see the certified laboratory results, and everything that I do has to have that.
Yeah. So thank you. Gail put this up for us so we can remember all those things that is important to remember when you're getting CBD product. It should say on the label, full spectrum CBD, organic, single source farm. They should say who the farm is, where they got the product from, and it should be on that label. And it should say that it's independently tested. Right. So those are the things that we're looking for to make sure that we're getting a quality product. Now, you're getting that from Natural Wellness Boston, but there are other, reputable organizations out there as well. And Bryan is there to help you through this process. If you've never tried this before, he'll be at the event coming up in April. So be sure and click below, find out more about our event, Keto Beyond, talking about all aspects of nutrition. We're going to have a lot of wonderful vendors and sponsors that are there, like Bryan, and you're going to be able to talk with them. You're going to be able to meet with them. And so there'll be some, like I was saying, some nice times during the schedule where Bryan is going to go into a room with you and maybe just a couple others, and you can get your questions answered. It's going to be a wonderful event. And it's going to be wonderful because you're going to be there, Bryan.
Well, I don't know. I'll help as much as I can. And the other thing is the price. How much should you pay for CBD?
Another good thing to know. Tell us.
People don't know. The general industry standard is 5 to 10 cents per milligram of CBD. And the easier way to figure that out is 1,000 milligrams of CBD in any container that you buy you should pay between $50 and $100 for that. And less would be like, 500 milligrams is half the amount. So you can start just knowing 1,000 milligrams is $50 to $100. So 500 would be $25 to $50. So you can just very quickly get a feel by 1,000 milligrams is $50 to $100. It's the only thing you have to remember. And I have charts on all of this that I show people and that you can take pictures of, or I can send them to you so you can carry it around with you and go to any drugstore or, local farms to try to understand. I look at labels on a regular basis for ladies from their local farms, and I can let them know quite easily whether it's something that I would buy.
So here's Bryan's phone number, 508-450-2010. So you can call him. I think we also have your email, and we also have your website. So there's his email, Bryan with a Y, Bryan with a Y at lipedema-simplified.org. And then I do believe here's your website, naturalwellnessboston.com. A lot of ways to get a hold of Bryan. Get a hold of him, talk to him. He's willing to consult with you. He'll help guide you through this process and answer your questions. Bryan, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Leslyn.
Okay, and we will see you at the event.
Yeah, we'll see you all at the event.